There were 5 of them. 5 foreigners who boarded a plane to the Philippines with their cameras fully charged, their opinions already formed, and the specific confidence of people who have never been wrong in public and do not intend to start now. They had said it on the internet where everyone could see it and nobody had stopped them. The Philippines is poor. The Philippines is not worth the flight. Save your money and go somewhere that has actually been built. I know this story because I was there for 11 days watching all of it unfold from close enough to see their faces change. And I need to tell you something right now before the story goes any further. The moment that ended everything, the moment that broke the loudest one of the 5 completely open, did not happen on a beach or in a mountain city or at the top of a viewpoint overlooking something extraordinary. It happened in a small turo-turo near the airport, at a plastic table, in front of a 64-year-old woman who never raised her voice once. We are getting there. Stay with me. If you are new here, subscribe right now because we do not do comfortable storytelling on this channel. Hit that like button and drop a comment below telling me exactly where in the world you are watching from. I want every Filipino who has ever had to defend this country to someone who had never been there in that comment section. I want every American, every foreigner, every traveler who has ever underestimated a place and paid for it. Now let us get into this. The loudest one I will call Marcus. 31 years old. Broad shoulders, short cropped hair, white t-shirt. The kind of person who has been rewarded his entire life for having opinions and delivering them with enough confidence that nobody stops to ask where they came from. He stepped off that plane with his camera already rolling. The first thing he filmed was the traffic. Of course it was. That is what people film when they have already decided what they think. They find the first thing that confirms the story they brought with them and they point the camera at it before the country has had a chance to say a single word back. They stopped for food on that first afternoon. A small turo-turo near the airport. Plastic chairs. Hand-painted menu. The woman behind the counter was named Aling Nina. 64 years old. Short and round with a warm dark brown face and deep smile lines carved around her eyes from what looked like a lifetime of finding things genuinely funny. Silver hair pinned loosely back. A plain white apron over a simple faded blue floral dress. She did not know who Marcus was. She did not know about the camera or the channel or the opinions that had thousands of likes. She just looked at the 5 of them standing in her doorway and said, "Sit down, I will take care of you." Marcus filmed the food. He did not film his own face while he was eating it. I noticed that immediately and I did not forget it. The next 3 days in Manila, the group moved through the city with the focused efficiency of people collecting evidence. They filmed the broken pavements and the crowded markets and the tangled overhead wires. What they did not film was the man in Divisoria who chased one of the group half a block in the midday heat to return a wallet he had dropped with every single peso untouched inside. What they did not film was the jeepney driver who rerouted his entire route to make sure a lost elderly foreign tourist reached her destination safely and refused the money she tried to press into his hand twice. Those things did not fit the story they came to tell, so those things did not get filmed. The Philippines kept offering itself honestly and the cameras kept looking somewhere else. On day 4 they flew to Cebu. And this is where Marcus specifically began to come apart at the seams in a way that was quiet enough that he probably did not notice it himself but visible enough that I could not look away. They ended up at a small beach outside the city. Nothing famous. Not on any travel list. Just a stretch of coastline a local had mentioned the night before. Marcus waded into the water up to his knees and stopped walking. The camera was in his hand, but it was pointed down at the water surface, not recording anything. I watched him stand there for almost 4 full minutes without speaking, without moving, without filming. The water around his knees was the kind of clear that makes you question your own eyes. 5 shades of blue and green shifting from the shoreline outward like something painted with deliberate, impossible care. He stood in it like a man trying to find a filing cabinet in his brain for something that did not fit in any drawer he had. He did not post any footage from that beach. Not 1 second of it. From Cebu they went to Siargao. And Siargao is where the group fractured. The quietest member of the group was a woman I will call Diane. 28 years old. Short natural hair. Round thoughtful face. Dark jacket. The one who had said the least online but had nodded along with everything Marcus posted because agreement is easier than attention. On the second day in Siargao, she met a local surfer named Kuya Ben, 43 years old, lean and dark from decades of salt water and sun, missing one front tooth, with a laugh so unself-conscious and so large that it reorganized the energy of whatever space it entered. Kuya Ben spent an entire afternoon teaching Diane to surf. He did not charge her anything. He did not perform generosity for the camera. He did not even seem to register that what he was doing was remarkable. He just gave her his full unhurried attention for 4 hours because she wanted to learn something and he knew how to teach it, and that was the only logic required. That evening Diane sat alone at the edge of the water after the sun had gone down and cried. Not dramatically, not loudly, just quietly and completely the way people cry when something has moved something inside them that they did not know was movable. Nobody in the group asked her why. I think they already knew. I think they were all carrying versions of the same thing by then, and none of them had figured out yet what to do with it. By day 8, the footage Marcus was taking had changed completely without him making any announcement that it had changed. He was filming different things now. Longer, slower shots. The way early morning light moved through pine trees in Baguio like something filtering through cathedral glass. An old man sitting on a stone wall in Intramuros feeding pigeons with the total patience of someone who has nowhere more important to be and has made peace with that completely. A young girl selling Sampaguita garlands outside a church who, when Marcus overpaid her, looked not grateful but composed and dignified. Like the transaction had been conducted between equals and she had held her side of it exactly right. He filmed all of it in silence. He said nothing about any of it to the group. On the last night they were back in Manila. And I need you to stay completely with me right here because this is what 11 days had been quietly and patiently building toward. Marcus went back to Aling Nina's turo-turo. Alone. No camera. No group. He sat down at the same plastic chair at the same small table and ordered the same food. Aling Nina recognized him. She said nothing about the missing camera. She brought the food, set it down in front of him, and went back to work with the complete unbothered efficiency of a woman who has never once needed a visitor's opinion to know exactly who she is. Marcus ate slowly. Then he called her over. He said something I could not hear from where I was sitting. Whatever it was made Aling Nina laugh. Not politely, not for anyone, not because the situation called for it. Just a real laugh, the kind that has lived in the body for 64 years and comes out exactly as it wants to without asking permission from anyone. She waved her hand at him like he was being a little bit silly and went back behind her counter. Marcus sat there for another 10 minutes staring at the table. Then he stood up, left significantly more money than the meal cost, and walked out into the Manila night without saying anything else to anyone. The next morning at the airport before they boarded, I heard what he said to the group. He said, "I think we owe this country something." Nobody laughed. Nobody disagreed. Nobody said a single word back. They just stood there in the departure terminal with their fully charged cameras and their much quieter opinions and waited to board a plane home to a version of themselves that no longer had any use for the story they arrived with. If the story moved something in you, hit that like button right now. Subscribe if you are not already here. And leave a comment below. Tell me if you are Filipino. Tell me if you have ever had to defend this country to someone who had never been there. Tell me what Aling Nina's laugh meant to you. Tell me what you think Marcus owed. I read every single comment. Every one. They came to judge the Philippines. The Philippines never argued. It never performed. It never asked for anyone's approval. It just kept being exactly what it is. And for 5 people who flew in carrying certainty like luggage, that turned out to be more than enough.